hope perhaps the bottom might have been reached, looking at some of the data coming out at the moment? Talk us through it.
Yeah, maybe hope is a word. I'd probably more point into it. It might be a legacy of the fact that we're now back out in the market, and that I think is what's starting to really come through with the numbers that you're alluding to. The high frequency actual economic data has been something that's quite nice that's come out of the coronavirus, and the fact that the ABS now does a lot of surveys along with a lot of private equity firms and a lot of private investment firms, and they're showing and finding signs that there has been a bottom. So their surveys are now taking in basically the end of April to the first week of May, and they are showing signs of double-digit growth. Now, what I mean by that, it's coming from an incredibly low base in terms of retail sales, retail activity, consumption activity in terms of outside of staples is also on the way up. But as I said, the caveat being is that they were pretty much either at record lows or nearing all-time record lows in terms of the data that we'd seen all the way from the end of March through mid-April. It also suggests that there is a little bit more confidence out there, and we've seen that. We've started to see in the data coming out from places like the Westpac, Melbourne Institute Consumer Confidence Surveys that are suggesting that they're a little bit more confident about their forward-looking expectations around their own personal finances, but also the time to buy a home, which is quite interesting considering that expectations are for the houses to basically fall off a cliff. You've also seen expectations that the ability to actually have a job over the next 12 months has improved. Still not great, don't get me wrong, but these are the signs that are suggesting that maybe we have seen a bit of a bottom in this whole issue, barring, obviously the big word at the moment, is the second wave.
Yeah, and to tell you what, buying a house right now feels like a bold move, but look, these people make better predictions than I do. What about just the very scientific, anecdotal evidence, Evan? A lot of shopping centres and areas seemed a lot fuller over the weekend, almost instantaneously.
Yeah, and that's, I think, also in this current environment, it's actually a good thing to be using. I completely agree. It is anecdotal, but there is no doubt numbers are up. The amount of flow through those kinds of places are up. They're clearly only going to get bigger over the next 2 or 3 months as restrictions start to open up. As you alluded to, talking about Anastasia Palaszczuk or something like Dan Andrews and what they're talking about, the next step will be the possibility of what foot traffic happens with opening up of restaurants, clubs, pubs, etc., and the streets and the movement around them. And that is, at the moment, the surveys to be looking at is that the activity that comes with that is there. It means it's also flowing through into other things. Markets are starting to pick this up. You are starting to see signs that areas of the Australian economy, for instance, that have been completely beaten up and on the equity market are starting to show a little bit of increased upflow, and you're starting to see that in somewhere that you wouldn't expect, which is tourism. Things like Webjet, things also like Flight Centre. Again, horrible year for them, don't get me wrong, but they're starting just to show signs that maybe there will be a pickup at the back end of the year, and all of that is coming through as well. So again, very, very early, and let's put that out there very clearly, hugely early, but there is signs maybe there's some positiveness coming from this.
Let's hope so. Evan Lucas, thank you.
Thanks, Tom.